Hi there, Janet Fritz here for Galaxy Girl Creations. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to another day of Kit Conspiracy, where MK and I are both working from the same kit. It is actually her paper pack called Adventurer's Log. I'm also participating in the Rainbow Crush Hop, which is a monthly color hop. So this month our color was yellow, and 75% of our layout is supposed to be the color of the month. So I've pulled out a bunch of yellowed papers, and I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to get 75% of my layout to be yellow using MK's paper, which, doesn't have a ton of actual real yellow in it. When I think yellow, I think of that bright sunny yellow. So I did go and look through my photos. I'm doing some cruise photos. These are from this last scrappy cruise to the Caribbean out of Galveston, Texas. These photos were taken in Galveston the night before the cruise. That's MK standing up taking a picture of her feet at that compass, and that is our friend Lynn. And Lynn actually has a yellow purse, and that was awesome because I was like, oh look, there's yellow in this, and the stonework around that piece actually reads as a kind of buttery yellow. So that's what I opted for, a buttery yellow palette. Yeah, in varying depths of color. So I went to my scrap bin, and all of these papers are out of my scrap bin. I didn't use anything else, which is totally allowed in Kit Conspiracy. We're allowed to pull from our scrap bin. And I think this one paper that I'm putting in the back, I think it says like fall down or something like that. I think it is a fall paper, but it's a little bit hard to read. And I figured as much of it as is going to show, it's not going to make a big difference because you can't actually read it when I get it all tucked in and everything anyway. So it's really just there to give another shade of yellow tucked in the background of my photos. And then I did have quite a bit of that paper that has the tickets on it in the background there, and so I'm going to use that as the bottom portion of my layout. And I'm going to create a little shelf for my little cluster here to or layered up photos to rest on. I'm kind of going back to my roots and going with some paper layering, which I love to do. It's one of my favorite things to do, and I don't do it all the time, but I always really enjoy it when I take the time to do some paper layering. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. I'm trying to decide how wide of a section I need to create to make this bottom shelf. And I went with about 3 inches, 3.5 inches. And then I also thought I'd pull in some of the paper from, or not paper, this is fabric tape, kind of like washi tape, but it is the fabric version of it from 49 and Market. It's from the Everywhere collection. And we used this in the album on the cruise, the one that we taught our classes based around. And so I thought that would be a nice way to give a nod back to that album, because I'm going to be using that album for a lot of my cruise photos, but it's definitely not going to be big enough. We did about 22 pages, and I think I'm going to need at least 3 albums worth, which is what I did for the cruise the year before. So I know I want to tie in my layouts one way or another as much as I can, so I thought this was a great way to do that. With MK's paper in the background, I don't want to cover up or use I don't want to use a bunch of it and have it hidden underneath that bottom 3 to 3.5 inches that I've got going on there. So I am going to trim it off and kind of piece it together so that I don't waste the paper from MK, because I know I want to use it somewhere else and I have a limited quantity of it. And I know she doesn't have a ton of it in the shop anymore, unless well, she could actually be sold out by this point. But while I am videoing this, I know she had a little bit left, but while I'm voicing it, I don't know. So I'm just going to pull my whole layered up cluster down and attach it at the very bottom of the layout, if or the base paper if possible, and then trim off the top of the base paper. Now I also did pull in a little strip, about a 1/2 inch strip of her paper that has the little compasses on it because I love that, and I thought it worked really well with the background paper and with the topic that I've got going on here of us just, this is us just walking around Galveston down on an area called the Strand, which is kind of a touristy area, and they've got a lot of little shops and neat things to see. So we were just walking around down there and taking pictures and whatnot, and that's where we had dinner. So we definitely wanted to document that as well. So that's the idea, and I'm just lining up to make sure I've got my papers straight and one is not cockeyed, making sure they align with the grid on the background of my glass mat. And I'm liking how that looks. And then I'm going to ink all the way around the outer edge in some Black Soot Distress ink. While I do that, I want to remind you there are a bunch of people playing along with Rainbow Crush. There is a link down below to the group playlist, as well as some Instagram links. You can go and check out what everyone else is doing with yellow this month. And then there is a link to MK's channel, as well as the Kit Conspiracy group, in case you're interested in going and joining that. I do have these awesome palm tree wood veneers. These are from MK's shop. They just came out in April, so I'm sure she probably has some of those available. I'm hoping she does. I'll put a link down below for that. I'll also put a link to the distress tool, which you see sitting in the bottom right hand corner of my desk. I did use that on those little strips of paper that have the compass on them. And then all of these little embellishment pieces that I'm pulling in, aside from the yellow flower, are from her paper pack. They are all the cut-aparts, the little cut-apart pieces. I went and fussy cut them all off camera. So I have a big stack of them at the top of my desk, which you can't really see. You can only see the seagull sitting up there. But the globe, the camera, the little compass rose, and the leaves are all from that cut-apart sheet. And I have this little tiny piece that I am attaching that is just a leftover off of the tape piece, and so I'm just doing a little cluster of layers up at the top just to kind of bring in more of these colors up in the upper left hand corner, going with a bit of a diagonal design here. But it's amazing what you can do with just the tiniest little strips of paper to kind of trick the eye into thinking that there's more paper actually there than there really is, and just to bring in additional colors to your color palette. In this case, it's not really a different color, it's just a different shade of the same color. And I'm liking the way that it's looking. So I think it looks really good. I'm really happy with it so far. I'm thinking about adding these white wax seals, but they don't end up making the cut. Those are also from MK's shop. I feel like I had, with the globe and the yellow flowers, the wax seal was almost the same size, and it just was competing too much. So I decided to save those for different layouts for this particular trip, and heavens knows I'm going to have plenty. If you're wondering where this 77550 sticker came from, I actually bought that in Galveston at one of the little shops on the Strand. That is one thing we always do when we are traveling. We hit the sticker area. Usually it's by the register, but not always. But we hit the sticker area to see if there's anything that we can add to our albums that is from the particular place that we are visiting. And I really liked this one. I like the addition of the black. I also like that it is black, so it doesn't compete with any other colors that are in the album. That's one thing I always consider when I am purchasing a sticker, is how well is this going to go in my album? Do I like the shape of it? Do I like the color? And this one is pretty simple. I also like that it actually says Galveston Island on it rather than just Galveston. I think it's pretty cool. So yeah, I would say it's a very good way to get some inexpensive things in on your trip, but these stickers don't tend to be inexpensive anymore. I don't know, they run $3-4 a sticker. If you call that inexpensive, it's not inexpensive for a sticker, but it's inexpensive for a souvenir. So if you look at it that way, yeah, it's not too much for a souvenir. Anyway, I am going to go ahead and add one of those little compasses up to my cluster up top here. The piece that says Journey on it is from the I think these are from the I want to say February, the February embellishment kit. That might be where the white ones are from as well. I don't have them in front of me while I'm voicing this, so I can't reference back to it. But she had a February embellishment kit out, and it might be from that. The Journey saying is also from that same kit, and it is, I believe, an Echo Park collection of travel sayings, and those were all in my kit share. If you missed that, you can go back and watch the video from yesterday. I will link that up at the very end of this video, so you can just go back and click on that in case you missed it and you're interested in seeing what else is in this little kit that is using MK's paper and her cut apart sheets. So we did add some wood veneer like those palm trees and those sayings. Usually my glue does not get clogged up, but that one, as you can see by the label, it is really old, and it's quite empty, and so I was having a hard time getting it out, so I pulled out a new bottle and used it to stick down that little enamel dot on the word, the tag that says Journey. That is it, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have questions or comments, you can leave them down below. In case you missed what Kit Conspiracy is, MK and I are using the same kit all week long to create as many layouts as we can. So you're going to want to come back and check out my channel and her channel and see how we use them differently. And I hope that you enjoy that. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys again soon with another one. Bye-bye.